Hey guys, so welcome back to the channel. I'm working right now on an instrument cluster for 2014 Volkswagen Jetta Golf. It's a little on the great area name of the car, right? But yeah, that is the vehicle. This was sent to me from Daytona Beach, Florida. Contessa, this is your instrument cluster. It says instrument cluster has no response and car starts and shuts off immediately. All right, well, so looking at, as you see here, I have the instrument cluster already apart, and I'm replacing the connector. The reason I'm doing that is because, not sure if the camera can pick, I'm going to put this onto the microscope so we can all see that. And I'll show you the pictures also for my records and to show the customer, because I took also all the pictures of these disassemble so we can all see that. Come on. All right, so it's now on. Also, by the way, in order to talk to this audios and Volkswagen's instrument cluster, and so you need to have the gateway. I'm going to use it and see, because I think if I remember properly, I couldn't talk to one in an older module. This the gateway is a J533. They all look the same, and I had the wire diagrams. I actually did my homework. Give me one sec. Just to get the iPad in a better connection or view for to show you. All right, so this is for this instrument cluster. The cluster is a 32-pin connector. Powers and grounds is ignition on terminal 31 and battery positive on terminal 32. Ground is in pin 16, and then the CAN bus on pins 29 and 28. That goes over to from J285, which is the instrument cluster, to J533, which I'm missing a number in here. I don't know, I got to erase. Let me just put this in here, 533. Let me erase that number, not too nice. Come on, 533. Sometimes that's the auto enhance of the writing. That's a little polish writing that the iPad does. All right, so these will go from those pins to the so these pins on the J533, which is the communication data bus board. Again, the same gateway that I just showed you. And since I'm going to use that later on the video to test the instrument cluster after repairs, I need to know which powers and grounds and communication in between, and also going on to the scanner, or if I use that. I also downloaded powers and grounds from all data. Identifix is a little or it's not a little, it's very confusing now to use. Before it was the entire wire diagrams. Now they're showing you the tracks, the original diagrams in page by page, and there's no connection or next or previous. All that at least has still that you can go to previous and to or into all the tracks, and you can select the tracks you want to save. Because like in this case, I'm in the track 281 to 294, right? So I can go into page before and go from the 280 to whatever before, or from the 295 to whatever after, right? So and I did all my marks. So this in here, as you see, this connector in here is the 32 pin. So T32, that's the connector, 32 pin, terminal 16 slash 16, right? And then that 31 means terminal 31. Terminal 31 is ground. In here, we see the same thing, T32, 32, pin 32, is terminal 38. That's battery positive through a fuse, and then T32 pin 31 is terminal 15 ignition, right? So, and I marked those in here for you guys to see that better on here, and also what the gateway number is, J533, and what the cluster number is, J285. And I keep that information always for me. I love the iPad. Is a very good place to save everything. All right, let me show you the original connector. So I'm going to put that on the camera and on the microscope, and you guys will be able to see that pin um 32 is completely gone. That is the best uh, view. So that pin 32 is still on the connector on the car, and I'm gonna have to tell Cotenza or what is it? Yeah, Contessa. I hope that's her name or his name. I don't know. The data pin is definitely still there, and they need to repair that harness in order to get that pin out or replace the terminal because otherwise it's not going to work. And yeah, definitely it will not power up because it's a main power. So I got another connector here, and I'm going to show you that how this should look. Let me just make sure I can get that into focus, and that is okay. So right now, a nice and brand new connector, right? So that is completely all the pins as you can see there, right? So all that's nice and clean. So I'm going to solder. This is pretty easy to do. Well, pretty easy for those that we have some experience on solder and desolder, but using the Haco, um, this is the FR301 desoldering gun. This is my go-to every time. I got different tips for different sizes of pins and I have a lot of Hackle, and I'm also using the JBC. Just have too many tips and everything for Hackle system. Otherwise, I would have changed. JBC is a little higher quality. The air station that I have here works really well. I have the air station from Hackle, even though supposedly it's more powerful, it's not. And I have the JB solder and iron cleaning brush tip. I just let this go here, and it's a little warm still from the desoldering in here. All right, so let me show you why I went over to the track. I have all that, I'm sorry, Identifix is still pulled here. So this is with the VIN number of the vehicle. It says this is a blue 2014 GTI driver's edition. It could be whatever, some other editions, but that's the one selected based on the VIN. If I go over to the instrument cluster, sorry, I'm in the wrong diagram. In the instrument cluster circuit, it shows first something that is not even for this car. I'm going to select both diagrams. And at first I'm like, why is showing 36 pins? Because it does. So let me zoom in more. And as you see here, and I start to end at 32, ends in 36. And I'm like, this is not a 36 pin cluster, but maybe it's an error here. But it's nothing on 32, nothing in 31. And if I go over to ground, it shows me the ground and pin 19. Okay, that's nothing to do with this car. And the powers coming from terminal 15 right here. You see terminal 15. I'm going to select it in terminal 30, right? RM pins 1 and 2. This is for a completely different instrument cluster, and this is why it's so important to make sure that you can use the correct diagrams. All right, if I go in here in Identifix, you can go into the main page, right? And then select OEM diagrams. All right, so I usually just show 100, but as you see, it's just a lot. I mean, it's a lot of, it's like almost 800 um, diagrams. The problem now is before we used to have all these diagrams, and if I click, let's say, on the 2.0 gas, this second line in here, this would have opened all the wire diagrams for the engine on group 57, right? This is 57 page one, but this is 2 pages. So now there is not only very hard because now you're going to have to go page by page to find the other tracks, right? Is that when you go into, like, say, if I'm going to look for the instrument cluster, right, which is what we're working on. So I'm going to look for one that says instrument cluster, not on this page. So let's go over to the next one. Okay, right here. Instrument panel. It doesn't say for which car it is. It just says 2009 and later, and it covers all these engine codes that you got the PRO or PO codes that are usually either on the trunk, under the spare tire, or in the glove box on these vehicles. So you need to know which engine you're working on. But if I click in here, it's going to be the same thing, just 2 pages. And it start now in 10. All right, so this one is in page 10, so I'm already in track 113 to 126. If I need to go and find the rest, I don't have a button to go back. I cannot click on any of this. So this right now, sorry, Identifix is useless because I cannot go back to a previous page or the forward page on this same number 52. And you'll say, well, you can still find some, right? So because it says 10 instrument plan, okay, well, there is another instrument panel. It says the same, but now this is, you can see that was 52, this is 99, this is 108, this is 121. So, and those are all instrument panels. So which one is which, right? So it's too many of the same. They start all in different pages. This is in page 10 of 99. So it's talking about, some of the instrument cluster, which I not even see the J285 in here or anything. So I'm not even sure what it says something about instrument cluster or instrument panel, because it's about the instrument panel switch for dimming. So this is not what we're looking for, but you see what I'm going to, right? About how hard, and every single wiring is the same. If I open any other one, let's pick oxygen sensors and accelerator pedal. This is from the engine, right? So this is very important, right? So you're working on the engine is group number 102, and this is page 11. And now you got page 11 and 12, and that's it. All right, so what is page 13 or page 10? So again, if I'm here in pedal position sensor, all I see is a group 102, but the next one is 04046, and these are all 2.5 liters. By the way, this engine is a 2.0, not a 2.5, so, but this is just an example. So very, very hard. It is being very hard to make sense of what I have here. When you don't have the car, it's very hard. Then you go into Identifix, and now you are looking for. You can put in here cluster. Sometimes that work or instrument cluster, right? And that will kind of like select. It says that we have a total of 427 hits with the cluster, which is okay. Well, let's say it's okay. So multifunction indicator, and this is for 2.5. This is still not for the 2.0. The ones that already look red is because I already click on them. So we have diesel, so that's not, and this is the gasoline. I going into that one, and this is group 148. And this is on page 16, and we have one page. So you see what I'm going with this, very, very hard. And I go here, and in these ones, when I click on here, or if we see this, and I'm going to zoom a little more onto this diagram. Now T32 pin 32 doesn't tell me if it's terminal um, 15 or terminal 30 for battery. We have terminal pin 31, which is ignition. We already know that. Is telling me nothing. So again, very hard, very hard, very hard, very hard. So, and I went through all this. So win-win on all data this time. In all data, I was able to find, vehicle diagrams, electrical OEM, standard equipment from May 2010. That's all I need. And if we see on the tab, it says that this is a 2014 Volkswagen GTI, a 2.0 turbo CBFA. I don't need to make a guess of if it's a CBA, a CTA, a CUF, whatever it is. Based on the VIN number, that all data already told me what I'm working on. So in this case, I'd rather have all data than Identifix. Yeah, I can then select the tracks. I already know which tracks I'm going for. So if I click in here on the 281 and 294, this is where the instrument cluster powers and grounds and communications are. And I can see this, okay? I can click in here, look at the image in a better quality. I can zoom and do all the stuff, right? So, which is good. But this is where I have the same image that we saw here before, and I put all those marks. We have, terminal, D32 pin 16 is terminal 31. This is kind of high gun low, so I know where are those. And then 32 is terminal 30, and 31 is terminal 15. That's all I really need. And I want to check the next because this is the nice thing. So I'm here, And this is the starting of the cluster, believe me, right? So if I want to go over to the next, I have the buttons in here. Well done, all data. Well done. I can follow the same tracks, the same 92 diagram, and then go into the next page. I don't have to go into where, like Identifix. I'm sorry, but if this keeps going like this, you're going in garbage. Because I'm going to tell you, they're not charging you less, they're charging you more and more every day, and they're not giving the right information. So, yes, it's a little bit of a rant, but it's because I spend hours and hours on something that should be really simple. I need my life to be easy. I'm working, I cannot spend hours and hours in just looking for information. It's very, very useless. All right, guys, and as you see, I like to keep tools that can make my life easy. I take the time to make all this, to write my connections, so the next time it's all good to go. I don't have to revisit or relook for the information. All is saved. I do the same things with the data from the customer. Right now, this is the file that I have for Contensa from Florida. Uh, they send me all this information, where they have no signal, no communication from the instrument cluster. I'm going to go slowly because those are the full codes that they have. This is the big number of the vehicle. I'm going just to go away because I have some pictures with, yeah, like this one. It has a customer phone, which I'm not sure if it's a cell phone or a business, but I know it's a shop, but I'm not sure which numbers I have here. So I'm just going to scroll. I want to show you the way this cluster was. I mean, really, really dirty. I already cleaned that up. It's a cluster when it goes back to them, it's going to look like brand new. All right, let me go over to the next picture. Well, yeah, again, another one you can see. Look at that poor thing. I mean, and it's not that old. All right, let me go next one. Yeah, this I cannot show. Well, kind of partially. Let me do a zoom. Yeah, this is after the cleanup that I did. All right, so let me go over to the next page. This is the back of the cluster already open, and we can see the same thing, right? So you can see now where that was damaged. No pin, so yes, without that main power, it ain't gonna come on. These clusters are not hard to take apart. It's like 4 bolts, and then to remove the board from the actual gauge, you need to remove the needles, and then these tabs, you just uh, twist, and it has this one connector for the flex for the actual LCD. That's it, and then just carefully remove because it has like 2 tabs in here, 2 tabs in there. All right, guys, I'm going to solder this. I don't think that you guys want to see me just soldering. I think the information and the problem that I have is more than enough. Soldering, I'm just going to put that in and start soldering the connector, which is pretty easy. I already also mark the positions of pin ones, and so just in case, I don't think it's possible to put in a different way because it has 2 pins in here and 1 pin in here, but just in case, I always try to be very careful. All right, guys, let me solder this and put the cluster together and do a test. All right, I'll be right back. New connector installed. The solder looks like factory. All right, guys, finish the repair in the instrument cluster, put the needles back, and now we're going to do the reset. I mean, very good news for Contensa. Cluster is working 100%. This vehicle has, or cluster has 101,606 miles. We can see nothing is plugged in, but I will be able to, if I can talk to the scanner with the um, gateway, right? Because if you see here, I have to select, manually select the car, obviously because there's nothing else than the cluster and that gateway in there. But you can see that we have the OBD port and then the gateway and then the rest. So I'm going to enter the instrument cluster. If it works, this should read the bin on the car, which let me just get it from here. Yeah, we have the bin in there. It should be the last digits. Let me just follow this so we don't see nothing but the bin. All right, should be W30741, and we had W30741. So perfect. All right, so that is definitely cluster is working 100%. This is very good. It has a long coding, which is also cool workshop. These are things that you always very important to write down when you're going to change any coding or something on a module, especially for Audi and Volkswagens. All right, so when we enter here, we're going to just go into actuation test to make sure the cluster is talking, right? So let's go into the field gauge. Field gauge. We're going to enter, and this is going to start. So it should do a sweep on the instrument cluster and then find its middle. All right, so that is in diagnostic mode, and we can see the field gauge moving. That's the needle sweep, and then the middle, perfect. All right, so we're going to do the same thing on the engine coolant temperature gauge. All right, so that is, as you see, it turns off everything else and just does the sweep. So let me just enter what it says in here. It says something about it. Let me see. Prompt, please choose only one of the items to do. Oh, yes, I see, because I have two. I don't know. Well, if you cannot do two, why you let me select two, right? All right, so we're going to do the engine coolant temperature the same way and then a start. All right, that's going all the way from sweep to sweep, and then it should go back to the middle. Perfect, and we can see that it's nice and in the middle. All right, so those are good. We're going to stop that selection, and let's see what else we can do. All right, so let's see if we can do the tachometer. Indicator, the speedometer. Yep, let's do the speedometer first. All right, let's do the speedometer, which is on this side. Nice and smooth, and right in the middle. Perfect. All right, let's do the tachometer. You see, it stays selected. So, well, then deselect it, right? All right, we're going to do the tachometer, which is on the left side, and then start. And that is perfect. It's moving nice and sweet. It should go from 0 to then the middle, which is, well, not the middle, to 3000 on the speedometer. Okay, perfect. All right, so it looks like everything is working well. And we have very, very good communication in Condensa. If I can communicate with the scanner, I remember the only way that I can communicate with the instrument cluster is going in through the gateway, and the gateway is the one that's allowing me to talk to both. All right. Okay, let's deselect that, and let's see if we can do any lights. We already did the display. Let me see display for range now, fuel gauge, acoustic, no. Not many test image insert in center display. Let's see what it does. All right, so that is a test for the LCD, and we're going to stop it. I mean, we can see there is nothing wrong with that one, but you know, since we're here, let's try to do whatever we can, right? I don't see any lights in here. Gong indicator, gong. Well, this has a gong, so and we can hear it. Well, maybe you guys don't, but I do. It was just an alarm in here. Display for battery capacity. I don't think this has that. And I don't think there is anything else unless I go over to, basic settings and other adaptations that you can do in these Audis and Volkswagen. But realistically, for what we have here, Contenza, your instrument cluster is 100% done. Everything is, and it's looking like brand new. I cleaned this instrument cluster, all the gauges, because this was, I mean, filthy. But I take the time to remove all the debris and everything and get you a cluster back that is looking in a very good condition. And that's why Mike Salazar Diagnostics is different from the rest. All right, guys, thank you so much for visiting the channel. Don't forget to subscribe. See you next time. Bye bye.